No! Why would you say this? I hate this. This is why there's so many myths on the internet. They give you a bunch of good information, then they screw it up, and you don't know what's the good information and what's the bad information. Freaked out a few dogs here on that clap. Oops. Coach Greg, and today we're going to be going over things that no one tells you about building muscle. No one. They never say it to you. A highly requested video by Gravity Transformation. People want me to go over it. It's called 10 Things No One Tells You, in bold, about building muscle. No one tells you. So I'm excited. Am I going to agree or disagree with Gravity Transformation? Normally, Gravity Transformation, pretty good channel, but did they miss the boat on this one? Gonna watch the video and find out.
You're gonna get labeled and stereotyped a certain way. It's very common for natural bodybuilders and even some not so muscular models to be accused of taking steroids.
So why is he showing Arnold Schwarzenegger and Callum von Monger and using them as the natural bodybuilders?
And they can't possibly imagine that someone can achieve a much higher genetic potential that they can without using steroids.
So if you build a lot of muscle, people are going to accuse you of being on PEDs. Does anyone not actually know that? It's a compliment. If somebody says, you're on steroids, you must take something, that is a compliment. And I do think most people know that. If you're scrawny, don't look like you work out, probably not going to be accused of being on PEDs. Doesn't mean you're not, but people aren't going to accuse you. So why is he showing Arnold Schwarzenegger and Callum von Monger as examples of natural bodybuilders that people are going to be accusing of taking PEDs? They're not natural in the first place, so of course they're going to be accused.
Another common assumption after you put on some muscle is that people may be more likely to think that you're less intelligent.
And yeah, just because you pick things up and put them down, it doesn't automatically make you a moron. I think everyone knows that, but it's a fun way to put people down. Someone's jealous of your physique. Well, they can't make fun of your physique because it looks pretty good, so they attack something else, your intelligence. It's just all about jealousy, so yeah, I do agree with them on this one.
Another thing is that protein shakes and protein bars can be used, but they're not ideal for building muscle. Regular meals that include real whole food are much better options.
And I do agree, supplements are supplements. A protein powder, protein bars, these are great things to add on top of your diet, but it shouldn't replace eating regular food. I would suggest to try to eat 3 regular meals a day, and then if you want 1 or 2 meals with protein bars, protein powders on top of that, then that's the way to go. Studies will show there's 4 to 5 opportunities for muscle protein synthesis to occur in any given day. So I would suggest eat 4 to 5 times a day with protein to maximize muscle growth.
Even though, yes, you can get away with eating fewer meals, research shows that you'll get better muscle building results by spreading your protein intake more evenly between at least 4 meals throughout the day.
100% agree with them. So many people think you can build just as much muscle while fasting or doing intermittent fasting, eating 1, 2, 3 meals a day. Sorry, you can't. You need to eat 4 to 5 times a day. And no, you can't eat 4 to 5 times a day in a 4-hour window. I have people hire me saying, I know you need to eat 4 to 5 times a day. I want to eat all those meals within a 4-hour window. Please set it up like that. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You can't just eat each meal 1 hour apart. You should try to spread out each meal by approximately 4 hours in order to benefit from muscle protein synthesis from the protein that you're eating in that meal.
You're going to have to worry about not only meal prepping, but also carrying around these meals with you. You'll also have to find ways to eat more times throughout the day than most normal people do.
No, you're really over-exaggerating how difficult it is to eat 4 times a day. I would say most people are actually eating 4 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, supper, and they're probably eating a snack at some point, or maybe eating a snack before bed or in the middle of the afternoon, a break at recess if you're a kid. It's not hard to have 4 meals a day. He's saying you need creative ways to find out how to eat 4 meals a day. It's not 8 meals a day. We're not talking about eating every 2 hours. Most people, that's right, most, 99% can find a way to eat 4 meals a day.
What if you have to eat 2 meals at work? What if you're traveling or you're at a party and you're really serious about muscle growth?
And they don't all have to be fancy gourmet meals. Eat 3 normal meals a day and you can have a protein bar once or twice a day. That's plenty. It's not that complicated.
Lifting weights will only take you so far when it comes to building muscle. When you first start out, your diet can be a mess and you'll still build muscle due to something known as newbie gains.
Exactly. Newbie gains is a real thing, but so is the law of diminished returns. At first, it's easy. You grow muscle, no problem. You can eat poorly, train poorly, you're building muscle. But as you get better, bigger, closer to your genetic potential, the gains, they slow down. It becomes a lot harder to improve. So do realize all that muscle you put on in the first year or two, it's not going to keep going unless you take PDs. Then of course you can keep building. But if you train hard, you're going to slowly over time get less and less results from putting in the same work.
You should also make sure that you're eating enough carbohydrates and fats on top of that protein to create a calorie surplus. All you need is about a 10% increase above your maintenance calories.
No! Why would you say this? I hate this. This is why there's so many myths on the internet. They give you a bunch of good information, then they screw it up, and you don't know what's the good information and what's the bad information. You do not need a 10% calorie surplus to build muscle. You don't need it. If you're in a 10% calorie surplus, you're going to get fat. You do not need to get fat to build muscle.
If you want to build muscle, the number one thing that you have to make sure of is that you get enough protein.
But I do agree with him. So long as you get enough protein, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
whether the extra calories are coming from carbs or fats. So long as you have enough protein, you can have a very high carb diet with lower fat or a very high fat diet with lower carbs. Both are going to be effective to build muscle.
But keep in mind, it's challenging to maintain a calorie surplus in the same exact way that it's challenging to maintain a calorie deficit.
Yeah, it's challenging to maintain a calorie surplus because your body is saying, stop getting fat. It releases a hormone called leptin, says, hey, you just ate enough. You're full. You can stop eating now. We're good. But you say, no, I watched a gravity transformation video. He said I need a 10% calorie surplus. I'm lean bulky, I'm bulking. I need to build muscle. So you overeat. Your body's saying, stop eating. You're saying, no, I want to keep eating. You're saying, I'm going to build more muscle. Only you're building more fat. And guess what? That bulk eventually it's going to come to an end because you're going to say, I don't like the reflection I'm seeing in the mirror. I'm too fluffy, I'm too soft, I don't feel good. Then you're going to go on a diet, you're going to think it's a mini cut, but it's going to be a cut. You're going to do a crash diet because you're going to have to lose weight for 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years to get that fat off. It's not fun. Don't bulk in the friggin' first place. Now, if you're too thin, your body fat's too low, you don't have energy, yeah, eat more. Eat more until you're healthy. Have healthy body fat percent. It's different for everyone, usually between 10 and 20%. So once you get to, say, 15%, if you feel good, don't go in a 10% calorie surplus anymore. Maintain. Keep the body fat percent the same and slowly build on muscle. That is how you do it. That is what people aren't telling you when it comes to building muscle. No one's telling you that but me. I'm telling you, you don't need to bulk. No one tells you to bulk. He's saying what everyone tells you. It says 10 things no one tells you about building muscle. And he's saying you should bulk. Everyone seems to say you should bulk. You shouldn't bulk. So the things no one tells you about building muscle is you don't need to bulk to put on muscle.
People don't realize that the challenge with building muscle is oftentimes feeling stuffed. Sometimes you simply won't want to eat.
If you're stuffed, you should stop eating. If you're stuffed, you should stop eating. When you're full, that's good enough. Stuffed, bad. Full, that's okay for most people. Stuffed, bad. It's like when you're going to a buffet and you're stuffed, it's not good. You should have stopped eating a little bit earlier.
On top of that, when you're in a calorie deficit, all your bland, boring meals will taste better. Due to the fact that you're in a calorie deficit, you're hungry even for stuff like chicken breast.
And when you're in a calorie deficit, that chicken breast that's not so appealing, well, now it's suddenly starting to look good. But listen, you don't need to be in a deficit. You don't need to be in a surplus. You eat at maintenance. The calories needed to maintain the same body fat year round. Guess what? You only need about 30 extra calories a day to build muscle. You really think you can accurately track those 30 calories? Oh, I'm eating 2,700 a day for maintenance. I know I want to build muscle now. I'll eat 2,730 calories. You really think if you only had 2,670 calories, you're suddenly losing muscle that day? No, it doesn't work like that. So just try to keep your body fat roughly the same, and over time you will in fact build muscle. Why force feed and feel uncomfortable and then diet and be starving all the time when you can gain and be happy hunky-dory all the time?
So you'll have to go against your natural instincts. There's a reason why they feed sharks before scuba divers jump into the tank with them. The shark's natural instinct is to stop eating once they're full.
Even the sharks know better. Come on, sharks aren't as smart as humans, but yet humans think we need to keep force feeding each other all the time. Why? Follow the brains of the sharks. They're smarter than humans.
Next is the idea that creatine is going to cause hair loss. And even though there is some evidence for this theory,
it's not going to cause hair loss. Creatine is not going to cause hair loss. Enough said.
It's probably untrue.
No one tells you creatine's going to cause hair loss because it's not. And if they did tell you that, it's because they didn't read enough studies to figure it out. They believe the one study talking about DHA, and they over freaking complicate everything. Creatine is not going to make you bald. And creatine actually works. It's one of the supplements you should actually take that works, that's safe.
The next thing I want to mention is that muscle grows while you rest.
You really think people don't realize that muscle grows when you rest? Really? People don't think that you need to go to bed to build muscle. And I do agree with him. A 3-on, 1-off program, training with weights 5 or 6 days a week does seem to make sense. If you do train hard and you overtrain, you're not going to build as much muscle. So if you need a day or two off of weights in the week to recover, it's certainly going to help you build muscle.
Which brings me to another point that you don't hear about too often, and that's the fact that you can actually get stronger and build more muscle by occasionally taking extra time off.
And yes, if you're overtrained, you're going harder than last time all the time, and you're burning out, it's okay to take a week off the gym. It's not going to hurt you, and it can in fact help you. Unfortunately, most people don't train so hard that they need that week off. So ask yourself, do you really need it? If the answer is yes, then go for it. If it's no, then keep working out. But I would argue, if you're training so hard all the time that you need a full week off, maybe you need to re-examine your training, maybe take things a little bit easier, maybe get a day off during the week. Clearly, it depends on your training, but not everyone needs a week off. And oftentimes, trust me, I've seen it, you take a week off and you don't get back to the gym after that. So if going to the gym and exercising is a habit for you, don't break that habit. Keep doing it. Just do it in a smarter way so you don't need to break in the first place.
Another thing that no one really talks about is muscle memory. The good news is that you do have muscle memory.
And yes, 100% agree. Muscle memory exists. I get asked that question all the time. So if you train for a few years and you took 6 months off and you go back to the gym, it's going to be much easier for you to rebuild that muscle if you've already built it in the first place.
The good news is that you can regain both the muscle and the strength much faster than what it originally took to build it in the first place.
Which brings me to another point in that if you see before and after transformations, oftentimes they're from people who have already had the muscle in the first place. And so when they show their before and after, they're making unrealistic gains that you can't make, but they're making them because they've either taken PEDs or because they have muscle memory or both. So please don't compare yourself to other people.
Last but not least, you should know that alcohol will make it much harder to gain muscle if you drink in excess.
And I'm pretty sure that someone's already told you that you probably shouldn't get drunk all the time if you're trying to build muscle. I don't know where he's from, where they haven't told people that hangovers and drinking a lot of booze it's bad for the gym, but pretty sure every single human being would know that getting drunk all the time, it's not good for building muscle. Hope that clears things up. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch one of the bloops. Educational videos, please watch them. If you need to lose weight, don't forget to pick up one of my training books, cookbooks, and so on. Hire me and my team for coaching plans. And until next time, I am out.